Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Now, welcome back to our class. We want to pick the crops one after the other. Now, under the classification of crops based on uses, we mentioned cereal crops. And we said there are crops that belong to the grass family and that give us carbohydrates. They are grain crops. Examples are rice and maize. Then we study pulses and we study root and tubers. What I want to do now is to pick one or two examples of crops under each heading and to study them. For the cereal crops, we shall study maize and rice. Then we'll go along to study that of root and tuber. We pick cassava and yam. We pick cowpea and groundnut for pulses or legumes. So that's how we'll be doing until we finish all the crops under each of the categories of uses. But now we want to look at the maize. Maize crops. The scientific or botanical name is Zea maize. Zea maize. Maize is known to originate from Mexico. Maize originated from Mexico. Maize is a crop that belongs to the grass family Gramineae. Family Gramineae are the family of crops that behave like grasses. Now, we have different types or varieties or cultivars of maize. The cultivars or the varieties of maize. On the board, I give you 6 types of maize. We are what to call the sweet maize, Zea maize saccharata. Zea maize saccharata. The word saccharata is taken from the word saccharin, which means sweetness. So, sweet maize, Zea maize saccharata. This is the common maize that we buy in the market that we boil and eat, either boiled or roasted. The English name is sweet corn or sweet maize, and the botanical name is Zea maize saccharata. We have another one we call flowery maize, Zea maize amylacea. The word amylacea is from the word amylase. Amylase means sugar. Amylase means sugar. So amylacea is the name of the flowery maize. Flowery maize is the maize that can be used instead of wheat to produce flour, which we can use for baking. Now, flowery maize is Zea maize amylacea. Then we have dent maize. Dent means depression, like injury. The body of that maize looks dented. And because of that, we call it Zea maize indentica. Zea maize indentica for dent maize. Then we have the pulp maize. Pulp maize is what you call the popcorn. Everybody eats it. You buy it around schools. This popcorn, the botanical name of popcorn or pulp maize is Zea maize evata. Zea maize evata. Popcorn, Zea maize evata. Then we have what we call flint maize. Flint maize. Flint maize is Zea maize indurata. Zea maize indurata. Then you have waxy maize. Zea maize tunicata. So I said we have flint maize. Zea maize indurata. And the last one, the waxy maize. Zea maize tunicata. Waxy maize is very strong. It gives strength and energy. So we have the word tonic. Tunicata. Now, these scientific names are in many and are in few textbooks. You don't have it in Essential, so you might want to study very well. These are the botanical name of the 6 types or varieties of maize crops that we do have. Now, how do we cultivate maize? How do we plant maize? Maize is planted majorly in different parts of the world, especially in Africa, in the coastal part of Africa. Now, the land preparation. To prepare the land, you need cutlasses and hoe for manual preparation of the land. Then you need machines and implements like plows, harrows, and ridgers for mechanical land preparation. The cutlasses will be used to clear the bush, while the hoes will be used to make the ridges. Or you use the plow to clear the bush. If you are talking about extensive farming, landscape farming, you use your plow with the tractor to clear the bush. You use the harrow to loosen the soil. You use the ridgers to make the ridges. When this is done, then you can go ahead into planting of your crops, of your maize crop. Before you plant, you've got to be sure the climatic and weather requirements that will enable your maize to grow very well. The climate requirement talks about the temperature and the rainfall requirement. Temperature should be between 26 degrees centigrade and 30 degrees centigrade or Celsius. While the rainfall is between 75 centimeter to 150 centimeter per annum. Now, the soil requirement. Most crops do well under on loamy soil. Loamy soil is a soil that contains more of organic matter. And the best type of loamy soil is sandy loamy soil. The loamy soil could be clay loamy or it could be sandy loamy soil. The best soil for cereal crops, for most crops that are grown in the coastal land, is the sandy loamy soil. Sandy loamy soil. So maize required sandy loamy soil with the pH of 6 to 7. That tells you that it should be a little acidic towards neutral. Don't forget neutral pH is 7 and slightly acidic is 6. While the strong acidic soil is pH range of 1 and 2. So we can say that maize required just neutral soil, a little acidic or a little alkaline, like pH of 8. Okay. Now, what about propagation? How do we plant maize? What do we plant in the maize? We plant the seeds. The seeds would have harvested and dried to reduce moisture content. If the maize seeds are not well dried before planted into the soil, they will rotten and die, and nothing will come up. But when they are dried to a particular degree, then you put them to the soil, they dry. So maize are propagated by seed, and that is sexual propagation. Sexual propagation means propagation by seed, and not by vegetative means. It's a monocot plant, so you cannot easily go and plant the body parts except the seeds. Okay. Now the planting date, depending on which part of the country you are going, especially in Nigeria, maize can be cultivated twice. Although it can be cultivated around the year if you have irrigation facilities. But for rain-fed maize, it's grown twice. So we call it early maize and late maize. Early maize is grown immediately the rainy season commences, while late maize is grown towards the end of rainy season. So early maize is grown around March, April, while the late maize is grown around July, August. That means after we just harvested the early maize, we can continue with new rounds of maize, which is late maize. The seed rate. I've told you the other time that the seed rate is the quantity of seeds that can cultivate 1 hectare of land. Seed rate refers to quantity of seeds of a particular plant that can cultivate 1 hectare. And I've told you what an hectare is. An hectare equals to 10,000 meters square. An hectare equals to 1 hectare equals 10,000 meters square. That is 100 meters square. 100 meters. That are 10,000 meters square. Okay. Now, for maize, you need the seed of about 25 to 30 kg per hectare. 25 to 30 kilogram of seeds per hectare. What is the spacing? I have told you also that the spacing is the distance between two crops that are grown on the farmland, either along the same row or between rows, or along the same row or between two rows. That is spacing. Now, for maize, spacing depends on the total number of seeds you are growing per point. If you are growing 1 seed per hole, the spacing should be 90 centimeters to 30 centimeters. That means your school ruler in 3 to school ruler of 1. A school ruler is 10 centimeters long. So use 3 rulers to 1 ruler. That is 90 centimeters by 30 centimeters. What do you mean by 90 centimeters by 30 centimeters? That means along the row, you could have spacing of 90 centimeters. Between rows, you could be spacing of 30 centimeters. That is if you are planting 1 seed per hole. If you are planting 2 seeds per hole, then your spacing should be 75 centimeters by 25 centimeters. 75 centimeters by 25 centimeters. Planting method. How do we plant our maize? We can plant the maize with the use of cutlass or with the use of an implement known as planter. If you are using your cutlass, you dip the cutlass to the soil and you push to the side. It should be about 2 to 4 centimeters deep. You drop your seed, which will be 2 or 3 seeds, into the hole. You cover it back and stamp it with your feet for good closure. If you are using your planter, you use your planter, either row planter or drip planter or a precision planter. You can plant the seed accurately for you with the regulated spacing set by the implement. Okay. Cultural practices. Cultural practices are the practices that are carried out after you planted your seeds before harvesting. You see, after planting the seeds on the farmland, you don't just go and sleep and come back to harvest some months later. No, you keep watch over the farmland and you do certain activities during which the seedlings will be germinated to form the fullness of plant, and then you harvest. Now, the cultural practices which you have to carry out just before, after planting and before harvesting include number one, what we call supplying. Supplying means the replanting of seeds into vacant stands. You see, after you've planted, some seeds may not germinate due to certain problems. Number one, the seeds may not be viable. They could have been broken, they could have been dead, the endosperm or container might have been bad, so it will not germinate. Then some seeds could have been picked by rodents or by lizards from the place you put it, so it might not germinate. Some might have been soaked up or heated up by the heat, so they will not germinate. Now, after germination has come on, that is, the seeds have sprouted in this earth, you go and check. For those ones that remain ungrown, you replant. The act of replanting fresh seeds to vacant stands is what we call supplying. Then we have thinning. Thinning out. Thinning out is the process of removal of extra maize crops per stand. Normally, you plant 2 seeds or 3 seeds into a hole. Now, by mistake, you might have planted 6 or more or 5 into certain holes. You never knew this. But by the time when they began to germinate, they will come out like a bunch of maize seedlings. You don't allow that because they will resort to competition and the maize crop will grow tiny and they will not be fruitful. So what do you do? While they are germinating, you remove the weak ones and reduce the maize stands to 2. The process of removing the weak maize stands that are extra so that the maize crops will remain 2 or 1 per stand. That process is called thinning out. But be sure that the weak ones should be removed. Okay. Then we have fertilizer application. Fertilizer application is often done twice. The beginning, you apply fertilizer, which you apply 4 bags per hectare. A bag of fertilizer is 50 kg. That means the specification is 200 kg per hectare. 200 kg per hectare. Fertilizer could be applied in different methods, either by ring hole method or by band placement. Now, you can use NPK, muriate of potash, ammonium nitrate, whatever fertilizer depending on the nutrient you discover lacking in the soil should be applied. Okay. The next cultural practice is weeding. Weeding is the clearing of weeds from among your crops. These weeds were originally bush that you cleared before planting, but they resurfaced after germination. And don't forget, that's a natural place. They keep on regrowing as bushes, weeds, and then you must remove them. Weeds can be removed with the hands by pulling them out, or with hoes by holding them away, or cutlass by cutting them away, or you can use chemical. The chemical we use is called selective herbicides, which will kill the weeds and protect your maize crops. Do not use non-selective. Some selective herbicide like gramazone and gramazone 20 will destroy your crops, kill both the crops and the weeds. But you want to use selective herbicide, which will be given to you by the NABTEB, agrochemical base, which will be selected to you at agrochemical base shops. This will spare your maize crops and kill the weeds. Then you also need to control pests and diseases. There are some pests that will invade the farmland. Pests like grasshoppers, like locusts, like stem borers, like weevil. They will invade the farm. This could be eradicated with the use of chemical. The chemicals are called pesticides. The same thing goes for diseases. Diseases of crops like consumate maize rust can be eradicated with the use of chemical or by the planting of resistant varieties of maize. Now let's go to harvesting. Harvesting is done after maturity. Maize mature 2 to 3 months or 3 to 4 months. If your maize crops are to be harvested grain or fresh or wet, then you do that after 2 to 3 months. If you are harvesting them dried, then it has to be 3 to 4 months. What do you mean by fresh maize or fresh or wet maize? Wet maize refers to the maize that are harvested fresh, which can be boiled for food or roasted for food. That one, you cannot store it. It's just fresh, you can eat it and consume it. Should you want to store it, you will dry it. Meanwhile, you can also harvested maize dry. That means you allow the maize to mature and to remain dried on the farmland. Such ones can be harvested immediately and stored without any problem. Then, how do we harvest? We can harvest maize in different ways. We can do what we call hand plucking. You pluck it from the sides and then you keep it in the bags. Or you can use sickle. You can use sickle to do that. Or corn picker. Corn picker is an implement that just go and pick the corns for you. It's very fast. And the method, which is the best method of harvesting, is the use of a machine known as combined harvester. Combined harvester will harvest the maize for you, and we also remove the bract, that's the covering of the maize cobs, and we also shell the maize and store the grain in a can and the trash in another can for you. Yes, how do you process and use maize? After you harvested your maize, the next thing to do is to dry it. When dried, you shell. You remove the maize grain from the cob. The cob can be thrown elsewhere or can be used to prepare animal feed. While the maize grain that you have gotten can now be sold or processed into what we use to. Can be processed to things like corn flour. Corn flour is the type that can be used to make several things on the farm, that may be ogi, eko, or can be used to make baby food, children foods, or can be even boiled as a human food. It can be used as flakes. It was ahead of cornflakes. It's made by companies. Cornflakes are like maize, seeds that be pressed and then roasted in different forms for consumption of man. Then we have can be used as cornmeal or beer or baking flour. It also can be used as a livestock feed. Storage of maize. Maize can be stored in cribs, in rumbles, and a fireplace. Fireplace is not recommended. Fireplace is an archaic method by which successful farmers keep their maize seeds, which they harvested in the season, which they would like to use in the next season for growth. They tie it up the fireplace, free from termites and pests. And when the next season comes, they untie it and plant on the farm. But that's not recommended. The recommended method of storing maize is in cribs and is in rumbles or in silo. Silo will be for industrial storage. Okay, now what are the pests of maize? The pests are the animals or the insects that affect the maize. We have studied crop pests and disease. We have seen how pests can affect the productivity of crops, can increase the cost of production, can destroy the crops of the farm, etc. But what are those ones that affect maize? Then we have stem borer, we have grasshopper, and we have maize weevil. Stem borer and grasshoppers, they affect maize on the farm where they are planted. Meanwhile, maize weevil, they can affect maize on the farm and is the storehouse, the weevil. They can be controlled by spraying the chemicals, the maize on the farm with required or recommended herbicides, pesticides. The disease of maize. Disease of maize include corn smut, which is a fungal disease, maize rust, which is also fungal disease, leaf spot, which is also fungal disease, and maize streak. Maize streak is viral. It's caused by a virus, and it is often caused by low humidity. Whenever it's so cold, it spreads easily. But the corn smut, maize rust, and leaf spot, they are essentially caused by fungi and can be controlled by use of fungicides. While that of maize streak, what you need to do is to cut whatever maize that's affected and then burn it or bury it so it does not spread to the other crops.